Hi, my name is Patty Nicol. I am born and raised Canadian, and I want to tell my story of my struggle to get medical help in Canada. And to tell the truth, I have been struggling to get medical help for a rare medical condition that occurred in 2004. I know it occurred at that time because in 2003 I was lifting a resident at my job and I felt something pop in my back. It just felt like a bubble popping. And the pain that occurred was excruciating. I went to a doctor at a clinic. He told me the pain was just a muscle pull. A couple weeks it'll be fine. A month later, I went back again to the same clinic, different doctor. He told me that he would do an x-ray and he said the x-ray showed nothing wrong. The following month, I woke up one morning. I wasn't able to straighten my right knee. It was locked at a 45-degree angle. About 6 months into the injury, I contacted a doctor in Toronto and he agreed to see me. And had got me in to see a surgeon, and the surgeon asked me to bring this x-ray. He showed me on the x-ray that there was a calcium deposit. It was 2.5 inches long and about 1/2 inch wide. He told me this calcium was a buildup of calcium that forms over the herniated bulge to protect it, and over time it grows and gets longer. And whatever is in front of that, in its path, it pushes into it. He said he's going to remove the calcium from my spine. The morning after, my knee worked fine, and I've been pain-free from that injury. The following year, in 2004, I felt another pop. A popping feeling I felt was in between my shoulder blades. I started waking up in the morning with pins and needles in my hands to the 100th degree. And after this occurring numerous times, I made an appointment to go and see the surgeon again. He was kind of pissed off because it wasn't a referral for a new injury. And when I said I felt the herniation was in my middle of my back, he says, no, rarely happens, not possible, it's carpal tunnel. He sent me down for carpal tunnel testing and it wasn't carpal tunnel. So I went back to the hospital and I asked them to do an x-ray. Well, the doctor told me I had something else wrong with me, and then he asked me if I had a family doctor, and when I said no, he said, well, I guess you're nothing but screwed. And I was so shocked. They call this professionalism in the hospital. In 2010, I was still doing okay. I felt okay. My abdomen was still flat. 2011, I changed my eating habits. I was intaking more calcium from my bones, and something changed. Within a week, my stomach bloated, my abdomen bloated up till I looked like I was 9 months pregnant. I was only 110 pounds. So I at that time I didn't understand why, but now I understand that if you have cancer of the ovaries or something in that area, your abdomen bloats up. I didn't have cancer. So what would cause that to happen? Well, now that I think about it, my body must have bloated up my stomach for what was going to happen. In 2013, I was in a friend's pool. As I was exiting the pool going up the stairs, I could feel all of my internal organs moving downwards like they had been floating in my chest. It freaked me out at the time because I had never felt that before and I didn't understand why that was happening to me. 2014, I started to notice a pressure on my front rib cage. It was very slight at first, just noticeable. So I went to the doctors, told them that something was wrong with my spine in the middle of my shoulder blades, so this doctor agreed to do an MRI. Went in for the follow-up appointment. Said you have a herniated disc in your thoracic spine and they consider it mild. I was like, what the hell does mild mean? It sounds like they're talking about a dipping sauce. I felt like they were downplaying it, like it was nothing to be concerned about. So at that point, I tried to describe to the doctor how I was feeling in my body, and he turned to me from across 6-7 feet away and he says, oh, that's not what's wrong with you, you're just fat. To get upset because it was really making me pissed off and frustrated that he wouldn't believe me, that something was wrong. I then went back and I saw a Korean nationality woman, doctor, and she left the room, and when she was coming back, I could hear the first doctor saying from out there in the other room, tell her to exercise. And then I went back a third time. I brought up the herniated discs in my spine, and he said, oh, well, and I said I would like a referral to an orthopedic spine surgeon. He said, well, you probably won't get an appointment. There's not enough information, because everything I tried to describe to them, they blew it off and didn't do anything about it. They wouldn't look into my concerns. So when he said that, after I went home, I got the name of the surgeon that the referral was going to, and I sent him a letter of what I was feeling in my body and my concerns. I called the doctor's office. 2 weeks later, the receptionist says, well, the surgeon is pissed off and he's refusing you an appointment. So in other words, he was pissed off because he was put in the position of having to refuse. I couldn't believe I was being refused an appointment. It was so emotionally destroyed because of this. I didn't understand. It was so frustrating. Why won't they see me? By this time, the discomfort in my chest, the pressure on my ribcage was increasing. I was now starting to feel my organs bounce up and down when I walk. I was starting to push out past my ribcage, because over this year, the pressure had increased. I had gone to other hospitals, and the first hospital, the doctor says, if you're not dying, we can't help you. Finally, in 2015, the discomfort in my spine was getting worse. I wasn't able to hold my arms out in front of me for very long. I no longer could walk fast, because the more I walked, the more my organs bounced up and down. I worked in long-term care for over 20 years, like in different facilities. And the last place where I was working, I was there for 16 years. I loved my job. I loved caring for the elderly. I was happy to go to work every day. So I had to go to my bosses and tell them that something was wrong. I was having problems concentrating on my job because of what was wrong. I physically couldn't do all the things I was doing before. I knew it was a safety risk to the residents and the staff. So the boss decided that I should go on short-term disability. So in 2014 and 15, I did go to another clinic in another town, not too far away. And they did the exact same tests as the first doctor, x-rays, ultrasound, and they weren't getting any different results. I didn't have cancer, but what they thought it was. I did bring up to the doctor about the herniated disc, and he started to say, you don't have, and then he changed, yeah, you do, but it's not that. Again, I was refused medical care as far as I'm concerned, because they refused to look into my concerns. By 2015, the pressure in my chest had doubled. I was having more difficulties with my arms and physical movement of bending over. I couldn't even tie my shoes. If women were out there are watching this, and you know what it felt like to be 9 months pregnant,